upload some files in here. Wait a while. So browse it, upload from my computer. Okay. Ooh. What happened? Desktop. Sige, I have to look for bakit walang laman? This is macro. Replace. Replace. Oh my God, what happened? Hindi ko makita yung ano ko. Okay, have to open this one. Bakit not found? What happened? Okay, there it is. Wait lang natin ha. Okay. There we have it. I'm just going to start with where the trend of demand and supply should be. We all know that demand is, when we say demand, it talks about the things that you need, you are capable of having them, and you can buy it now. Okay? Demand are goods and services that you want and you have the capacity to buy them. Okay. You have the capacity. Yan ang requisite ng demand. You have the capacity to buy it because you can afford it. Okay. Ang supply are goods and services that are produced and are made available for sale. These are goods and services that are produced and are made available for sale. Tatandaan. So, hindi ibig sabihin na marami kayong nakikita na pwedeng nyong bilihin ay mabibili nyo. Kasi, requisites of a supply is that they are manufactured, they are brought to the market, and it is made available for sale. Because there are times that sellers have the goods, have the services, but they don't like to sell it yet because they're waiting for the time when they can offer it in the market at higher price. Okay? Parang naghihintay ng pagkakataon para tumaas ang presyo at saka nila ilalabas yung goods and services nila. Naintindihan nyo ba? Ito namang demand, tatandaan nyo, demand are goods and services that a customer like and can afford to buy. Kaya binili niya. Because gusto niya, may pambili siya, kaya binili niya. So that is demand. Okay, let me start the chapter with this one. Okay, you have here the market, interaction between buyers and sellers. So it doesn't have to be a place. Market transactions can happen anywhere as long as there is one that is willing to forgo good or service, and there is another one who's willing to receive and pay back that goods and services. So, ang ibig sabihin, market transpires when one let go of a goods and one is willing to accept it at a certain cost that's going to be paid to the one that is offering it. Get that right? Hindi yung typical na market na pinupuntahan natin kung saan kayo binibili ng mga goods and services din na iba. Okay? Pero ang market in economic perspective is that it can be a transaction between two persons with an agreement to forgo and to receive. Markets may be local, national, international. So we know about export and import, of course. Tatandaan nyo, when you talk of export, that is an inflow of dollars. Okay? If it is export, it is inflow of dollars. Pag import naman, ibig sabihin, dumating ang goods dito, galing sa ibang bansa, that is an outflow of dollars. Because having to buy goods and services coming from abroad, we have to let go of our dollars. Get that right? Pag export, outflow of dollars. Pag import, baliktad tuloy. Pag export, inflow of dollars. Pag import, outflow of dollars. Kasi babayaran natin yung goods and services na galing sa ibang bansa. Kaya tinatawag nating outflow. Pag nag-i-export naman tayo, babayaran tayo. So, inflow ang tawag doon. Nakuha nyo ba, class? Okay. Prices is discovered in the interaction of buyers and sellers. Okay, now, this is demand. To be part of the demand for a good, consumer have to be willing and able to purchase the good. When creating demand, we are assuming that the only factor that causes consumer to buy more or less is the price of the good. So, ang demand nyo is price determinant. Ibig sabihin, dependent ang pagbili nyo ng maraming goods or services, depende sa presyo. Okay? Your desire to buy goods and services is price determined. It is assumed that all other factors that influence the amount that consumers will buy are constant. Market demand is created by summing the individual's demand curve. Okay, how does demand curve looks like? Okay, so we have the so-called law of demand. Ano yung law of demand? Can any one of you share his thoughts or share what he can remember about the law of demand? That as price increases, quantity demanded decreases. As price increases, quantity demanded decreases. Okay? When do price and quantity demanded meet together. Okay? When the seller is willing to let go of the goods and the buyer is willing to forgo of the cash, which is the cost of the goods and service bought by the consumers. Other things equal, ito yung tinatawag nating ceteris paribus. As price falls, the quantity demanded rises, and as price rises, the quantity demanded falls. But that is the law. There is always an exception to the rule. What are the exceptions to the rule? What are some exceptions to the rule? That when the price is so high, then the more that people will crave to buy them. Give me some goods that when the price is high, people are just so insane or crazy to have these goods. Because this good sometimes gives distinction. Parang ikaw lang makakabili nito kasi ikaw lang may pera, parang ganon. Okay, sometimes it's luxury items, but not all, of course. Minsan simply yung tinatawag natin, yung Lacoste na t-shirt, okay? 'Di ba habang nagiging mahal 'yun, mas gusto mo 'yun kasi pag medyo mura na, na-afford na ng iba. So, it doesn't give you distinction at all anymore. But when you buy the new design, then, as if you're the only one who can wear it because you're the only one who can afford it. Okay? Bumili ka ng sports car. Okay? Bumili ka ng sports car. Kasi, habang mahal, that will give you more distinction. At saka, that will give you an inch over the others. Na kahit kalbo ka at puno ka ng pimples, kumagwapo ka pag may sports car ka. Something like that. Okay? Okay, there's a term used about those goods. It's just in the tip of my tongue. I just forget. But anyway, later on, maybe I can share it with you once it gets to my mind now. These are what we call, it's a Singaporean term. Okay, anyway, I'll come back to that. The reasons for... Titulo ng lupa. Does that give you distinction? Kasi masyadong necessity kasi yung yung lupa because you need to have it so that you're not going to rent, di ba? So, that is everybody's desire, and maybe what you're saying is going to be a big house that others cannot afford to construct. Because you alone, because you seem to be the only one who can afford it, something like that. Okay? Yung mga eroplano, hindi ordinaryong tao makakabili niyan. Yate, hindi ordinaryong tao makakabili niyan. So, these are exception to the rule. But the rule of the law of demand is that when the price is high, demand tends to decrease. But when the price is low, then demand tends to increase. Kasi the relationship of price and quantity demanded is called inverse relation. Inverse relationship. Okay, how about supply? Okay, tapusin muna nga natin ito. Other thing. Okay, common. Look at this curve. It is downward sloping. Ayaw. Okay. when you have your price at 5 pesos, quantity demanded is 10. Okay? Tingnan nyo, if the price is 1 peso, quantity demanded is 80. Kaya, nandito yung 80, ito yon, tapos yan 1, ilalagay mo dyan yung point. Can you follow with the cursor that I'm showing? So, and then 4, you have 20, 3, you have 35. Pag presyo na lang is 2 pesos, 55 ang Pero nung na-bargain mo ng 1 peso, 80 piraso ang quantity demanded mo. Okay? There. Oh, look. Pag 1 peso, there is your point. Pag 2 pesos, ito yung 2 pesos, it's 55. Nandito yan. Between 50 and 60. Okay? Nandito yan. Do you get it, class? And then, pag 3 pesos, 35 units na lang ang bibili mo. Nandito yung 35. Between 30 and 40. Ayan. So, that is your demand curve. It is downward sloping. It composes of points. Within that curve. Ang representation ng curve na yan ay ito. Please try to look at it. This is your quantity demanded. Okay? Pag itong quantity demanded na to ginawa mong 20, tapos ito naging 40, naging 70, naging 110, naging 160. Itong demand curve mo to will shift to the right. Magkakaroon ng isa pang demand curve higher than original. Why? Because your quantity demanded schedule have increased entirely. So, you will have a new schedule because this schedule is represented by the original. Pag ito naging 20, ulitin ko, 40, 70, 110, 160, ibig sabihin, you will have another demand curve here. And you call that shift to the right. Pero, what if it is the same schedule, but it is from 10 to 20. Okay? 10 piso ay 5 piso, 10 piraso, ayun. Tapos, naging 20 siya, naging 20 siya nung price of 4 pesos. Ito, naging price of 4, 20 units. Nung price of 5, 10 units lang. Ayan. Anong tawag doon sa point? Ay, Diyos ko po, nawala. Anong tawag doon sa from this point to another point, to another point, to another point? What do you call that? Movement along the curve. Ibig sabihin, itong demand curve na to, ibig sabihin, kunwari, karning baboy yan, hindi napalitan. Karning baboy pa rin, kaya lang nag-increase or nag-decrease ang binili mo based kasi sa presyo. Okay? Kung another schedule yan, ibig sabihin, iba ang setup na nangyari kasi nagkaroon ka ng ano yung mga conditions para to shift to the right. Nagkaroon ka ng ibang konsumo dahil unang-una, nag-increase ang income mo. Okay? Shift to the right ang demand curve mo. Kasi pag nag-increase ang sweldo mo, kahit na 500 yan, alam mo magpapakasosyal ka na rin. Kung dati, ang binibili mo ay yung inihaw na napakaitim na tilapia, ngayon gusto mo inihaw na nabangos. And that will constitute a shift of demand curve to the right. Did you get that? Kaya ibang schedule, unang-una, ito kasi pork. Tapos, ngayon, ang gusto mo na is gusto mo ng konsumo ay isda. So, you will have another. Yung isda ba, mas marami kaysa sa pork ang binili mo? So, that is shift to the right. Pero kung mas konti, that is shift to the left. Okay, let's proceed to the next slide. Class, nakukuha nyo ba? Kung bakit ang demand curve ay negatively sloping to the right. Nakuha nyo ba why demand curve sloping to the right? Habang tumataas kasi ang presyo, tatandaan nyo, ito kasi, ito is always considered cost axis. Ang tawag dyan ay price. Okay? Price coordinates. Ang tawag dito is x-axis quantity. Pag y-axis, kasi nire-represent niya lagi ang cost. Nire-represent niya lagi ang total cost. Nire-represent niya ang total production. Dito lagi sa x-axis quantity ang tinutukoy niya. Ito, quantity ang tinutukoy niya. Ito naman is price. Total price, total production, total cost, nandyan din sa y-axis. Pero bago tayo pumunta doon, ito, let's have this one. Okay, this is price of bushel, per bushel of corn. Joe, Jen, J, okay? Quantity demanded, 10, 12, and 8. So, you will have 30 per week. And then, ang konsumo ng corn still, nung naging 4 pesos, ang laki ng impact, di ba? Naging 60. Ay, nako, nung naging 3 pesos, lalo pang dumami ang nadagdag. Ang marginal increase niya ay 40 units. Dito, titingnan mo, 60 minus 30, ang in-increase niya is 30 units. Yun yung tinatawag nating marginal change. Okay, dito naman sa 100 minus 60, from price 4 to price 3, ang in-increase is 40 pesos. That is the marginal difference. Okay, dito naman, mas lalong bumaba ang presyo, 154 minus 154 units ang nadagdag lalo. Titingnan mo, 221 minus 154, ilan ang nadagdag nyo? Hindi ba 1, 2, 3, that is 49, tapos 2, okay, baliktad. It's about 70, no, it's about 69 units. So therefore, ang laki ng impact ng price dito sa quantity na nadagdag nung bumababa ang presyo. Kaya anong tawag natin ulit? Ang quantity demanded ay price determinant. So, ibig sabihin, ang may kasalanan kung bakit dumadami ang demand ay dahil bumababa ang presyo. I hope you get that right. Okay, this is another demand curve. I think the concept there is already okay. Basta tatandaan nyo ulit, ito price, ito ay quantity. So, this one is representing this slide, which is slide number 7. Let's go further. Ito na yung sinasabi kong shift to the right and shift to the left. Look at the arrow here. It is pointing to the left. That's why it is a decrease in the schedule of demand. But if you're going to look at the arrow that is pointing up, that is an increase of the entire schedule higher than original because this one is your original. At anong term yan? Change in demand. Change in quantity demand. Ano yung change in quantity demanded? From one point to another point, From one point to another point, that is change in quantity demanded. From one curve to another, that is change in demand. Got it right? Class, naintindihan nyo ba siya? Change in consumer taste and preference. Okay. Nagbabago ang pagkagusto ng mga tao sa mga bagay-bagay. Tama ba? Okay. Nadagdagan ang sweldo mo, magpapalit ka ng gusto. Okay? Siyempre, dapat nag-i-improve din yung standard mo, di ba? And then, change in the number of buyers, that means population. Okay. Kung dati, puro Katoliko ang nandoon sa lugar na yon, nadagdagan na ng mga Muslim. So, ibig sabihin, may iba-ibang demand na rin yung mga Muslim. So, that will constitute an increase in demand. And that will constitute also change in demand. Okay. Change in income, normal goods and inferior goods. So may computation ito, yung change in income. Alam nyo yung change in income, kahit maliit ang increase ng sweldo mo, merong gagalaw doon sa mga goods and services na mangyayari. Get that right? Nakikinig pa ba kayo? Ay naku, 2 minutes na lang pala. Okay. So, okay. One slide before we leave. It's 6 o'clock. But I want to emphasize this one. Change in prices of related goods. Change in price of related goods. Ano yung mga related goods? Iba yung related goods at iba yung substitute goods. Related goods are like bread and butter. Okay? Ano pa? Car and gasoline. What else? Spoon and pork. Ngayon, ano yung substitute naman? What is a substitute of bread? Rice, sweet potato, yan, substitute. Ibig sabihin, in place of the other, meron pa. Okay? Change in consumers' expectation. Yung inaasahan mo mag-i-increase ang presyo, bibili ka na ngayon ng napakarami. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, magbabago ngayon ang momentum ng pagbili mo. Okay. Tapos, minsan pa, pag ini-expect mo na magkakabonus ka na, bibili ka na ng bibili. Di bale, matatanggap ko ang bonus ko sa mga susunod na araw. Kaya ikaw, yung buying patterns mo, nagbago bigla. Bili doon, bili dito, gusto ko yan, gusto ko ito, lahat gugustuhin mo. Okay? Okay, now, you still want to continue? Or we'll reserve this one? Do you still want to continue? Honestly. Naubusan na tayo ng time, no? Sige, I'll have this one discuss again in our next meeting. But I'll give you something to work on instead on Friday. Okay? Sige, bye-bye. Nalagpas tayo. Sige, bye-bye. Okay, sige. You're welcome. Yes, pasensya na kayo. Lumagpas tayo. Okay. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, sige. Okay.